Can you smell me now?
No.
Sorry, I had Mexican food for lunch. Can you smell me now?
No, not a thing.
Dang.
You smell this?
No, that's why I'm telling you, I'm all blocked up. I can't smell anything.
Here, come with me.
Can you smell me now?
Still nothing. No.
Dang. Here, try this.
Oh, clear?
Can you smell me now?
Yes. God. Yes. Why do you smell like that?
Like what?
Just your body's trying to tell you something. There's something wrong. It's not like a natural smell. It's not like a must. It smells like a medical, like a waste bin. Like something in you is dying.
So it works. Nothing beats the power of clear.
It just.
Nothing.
Shop clear.com and use promo code LWC20 for 20% off, along with free shipping on orders over $30. Clear. Wash your nose.
Glad to be with you. That's a sound of Monday, I guess.
Silence?
I don't know why I still have to do the sip. If people say, can I stop doing this?
No.
No. Well, that was definitive. Well, you didn't have to think about it, did you?
No, we didn't.
Oh, no, you put a comment? That wasn't supposed to be
Save the sip.
first one. I get distracted by this guy in CNN with a beady, soulless eyes. All right. A lot to get to today. You know, Syria is not doing all that well. We're going to talk about that briefly. Christians being killed in record numbers. I mean, Syria's never been doing that well, let's be honest. But Canada's also not doing all that well. Trudeau is out. So we've been building this Trudeau time to close for a long time. And going now. The problem is his replacement for the Liberal Party of Canada before they host a national election is definitely worse. He's a pro-communist, pro-China liberal who is obsessed with Donald Trump. We'll get into that. So we'll see what damage can be done in the next couple of months here. John Oliver, this was just released this morning, even though he did it last night, lied about ICE and immigrants as he always does. We're going to fact check that. And South by Southwest, you guys may not, I've been banned for life. And I'm not complaining. I was rightfully banned, and I should remain banned. But we sent our team in undercover, so we still have footage this year. It's not what it once was, but, it's fun.
We should try sending you back one year.
We can try. We did that a couple of times, but we actually, every time we would go to
jail, right?
Well, when we go to South by Southwest, we would often get struck down on YouTube, even though it was fair use. So it may happen today. If you're still watching on YouTube and you see this, head on over to Rumble. It's a weekday show, 10 a.m. Eastern. Major announcement this Friday, too. So a lot of you may not be used to us streaming on Friday, but Rumble Premium members do. And we have some news. So let me ask you this. Who do you think is going to win the Canadian election, and why do you not care?
And when is it? Does anybody know that?
I couldn't give you the exact date.
Is it already said, or do they have to call it?
I don't. Well, I'm glad
we don't know anything.
I think it's one of those places where they have an election when they feel like it.
Pretty much. They call it a snap election.
We'll do it today.
Yes.
Hopefully you can get off work.
Hey, what do the polls say? I can win today. I just legalized weed across the whole country. Election tomorrow. The problem is when you find yourself stuck between that rock and hard place where whenever you call the election, it will go badly. And that's where Trudeau and the Liberal Party is. So he had to step down. And it's a silly country. But Captain Morgan is feeling better. I'm glad you're doing better, CEO. And Josh Firestine, not _Firestine on X, which is down right now. I guess.
So maybe they're like me. Maybe they're grumpy. They lost their Sunday.
What?
Daylight savings time. I lost.
Oh, yeah.
1 hour feels like the whole day.
It is, but it's actually kind of good with.
Might as well. Yeah, threw it away. I threw away the whole day.
Wow. It's good with toddlers though because they sleep a little bit later.
Yeah.
It's not good for you as an adult.
because you still have
my
to
little
get
ones
up.
were going, why are we going to bed? It's day.
I don't know. My son wakes up at 3:15 every morning anyways, but I think he's possessed.
Yeah, well, there's nothing that
Wow.
a significantly high dose of Benadryl won't fix.
I'm telling you. Oh, mosquito got him. Benadryl.
Or Quaaludes, whatever floats your boat. Hey, this is going viral right now. This woman who actually Lane the Brain spent quite a bit of time with at South by Southwest and didn't know.
No.
Love is Blind is a show. It's largely fake. It's terrible. It's what's wrong with America.
I
But
hate these shows.
this lady was on this show. They were doing a promo in South by Southwest. We have some other footage. This is weird. She left her man at the altar because of his stance on social issues. And this is one. Now, there's an argument to be made that he just was kind of a pansy, but this is really a dodged bullet, if you ask me.
I love you so much,
No, you don't.
but I've always wanted a partner to be on the same wavelength. And so today I can't.
I didn't see that coming.
Look at the eye twitch.
Sorry, but I don't want that to be misunderstood. I still love you and everything about you is amazing.
But I'm leaving.
And I care about you so much.
I care about you too.
Oof.
And I love you so much.
No.
And I know I want to stay with you
No.
and keep growing our relationship if you'll let me.
She won't.
We'll see. Like I asked
Pause.
you about
That's
these Black
that's
Lives
you know what, you
Matter.
dodge a bullet if only for the laugh.
Yeah. That's why she laughed.
Sounds to the lamb.
I can't marry you, Ben.
It puts the reality show DVD collection in the basket.
All right. Keep watching while she talks here as though she knows anything about these issues, but she's mad that he has not.
I'm no expert, but like when I asked him about it, he was like, I guess I've never really thought too much about it. That affected me, especially in our own city. Like, how could it not? How did it not make you think about something? I asked him too, like, what his church's views are, and he said he didn't know. And so then I watched a sermon online
From his church.
about, sexual identity.
Okay.
And it was traditional. I told that to Ben.
Shocker.
And
Is that
he doesn't really have much to say about it, you know? I want him to think about that stuff. Sometimes I did wonder if it was surface, fun, carefree love that we had. Equality, religion, the vaccine.
The vaccine, right? No, not right. But congratulations. Through your radioactive feminist ooze, you've now created Super Red Pill Ben. So he is there, That's how it starts.
He might even grow a full beard.
One day.
Ben's
Holy
like,
moly.
F it, I'm done.
Well, here's the thing. I get the sense that maybe she would have respected him more if he just said, like, Black Lives Matter. It's retarded.
Yeah.
You know, if he said, well, yeah, there are men and women. He didn't seem to have a strong opinion on anything, so maybe she just wants a leader, not a man to share the same opinions as her. But we all know how that often works. Women, what they really mean is they want a man who shares their exact same opinions, and they want a man who will take the lead, you know, pay the bill, right? They don't want to go Dutch, but then they want him to adopt all of their opinions. This is the problem with modern relationship dynamics, but I think he dodged a bullet, and I bet you that guy is going to become super red pill.
He is absolutely going to be red pill. I hate shows like this, though. These like, well, I thought we had love. No, you were on a game show. Shut up with your, I thought we had love. It was carefree and fun. You mean until you actually talked about something that mattered?
She was never there for love. She was there to get on TV.
Yes, when she starts saying, and I love you and everything about you, you should have just heard the sound of his footsteps, car start, and gone.
And it should have been like, he shouldn't have cared at all and be like, bye.
Yeah. I guarantee you if that guy just said like, all right, yeah, I'm not really, yeah, that's fine. It was just kind of a thing. And started leaving. She'd be like, no, wait. Like Rob Schneider in Home Alone 2. Wait. Guarantee you. This is the problem. Like you can't just, that woman wants to be in utter and total control and left on everything.
Like he had his street clothes underneath his tuxedo. Like, all right, okay, I can take this off now.
So we
Just rips it off. It's Tate University.
So Douglas King, wait. So the PP Long Island guy, you remember the PP, the
Predator poacher?
who does the
Yeah.
poachers? He ran into her and had drinks. It looks like with Sarah.
Wow. Wait till she finds out what he does for a living. I catch and mock pedophiles. You mean minor attracted people? Well,
No.
thank God I wasn't on the show.
No, I mean people that you put in front of a wall and shoot after they've been convicted of pedophilia.
Or they kill themselves like in Russia by stabbing themselves in the back 36 times.
One could hope.
And
Yeah.
they dug their own grave and covered it. Very nice of them.
Russia gets some things right.
They do.
That and borscht. Now, I don't even know what it is. I
It's
just
like a
wanted to
soup.
say it. It's like a soup with, with
It's kind
cabbage.
of like a soup, yeah.
I like stroganoff. You know what? I'll let you have that, Ruskies.
Okay.
Let's go. Speaking of which, because there is influence, obviously, here, there's a pretty tight relationship. There has been in the past. Syria. I don't know if you know this, but this has been going on here lately, and it's a tragedy. Some recent reports. This comes from the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. 1,300 people in Syria, largely Christians,
Yes.
were killed. Let's call it what it is, actually. I mean, this is an Islamic State, culled for their religion in just the last few days.
More than 1,000 people were killed as violent clashes erupted between Syrian security forces and loyalists of ousted longtime President Bashar al-Assad. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, a UK-based war monitor, added that the clashes marked one of the deadliest acts of violence in over a decade.
Now, a lot of them were the Christian minority. I think they're called the Alawites. And Assad was part of the Alawite sect. So, look, I just want to be clear about this. We talked about this a while back. It's not like Assad was a great friend to Christians, but he was better than what we see now. Destabilizing these regions never ends well. It's why our involvement is something that I frankly think should be kept to a minimum. They'll never get it right. And this created this sort of civil war in the right, where some people are acting as though Assad was great. Well, that's not true.
No.
And then other people are acting as though this was inevitable, which isn't necessarily true. Like, look, Assad is bad, Iran is bad, Russia's not great, Ukrainian's bad. Can't we just have all of these same opinions at this? Like, I feel like the same thing sort of takes place with Israel and Hamas, where now everyone's accusing everyone on the right of being anti-Semites, and then you have people pushing back as though nothing is anti-Semitic. Let me know if you think this is a fair assessment. Because I will say this, here's my opinion. I hope that Israel wins the war. I hope that they wipe Hamas off the face of the earth, and anyone who votes for them effectively at that point in time. You vote for Hamas, you get what you deserve. Not all Palestinian people. Hope Israel wins. I think eventually it's really going to come down to a one-state solution. Hope that state is Israel. Yep. Don't know if we should be giving them as much money as we are. Don't know if AIPAC should have as much influence as they do. Don't know that I love some of the covert operations that Mossad has taken part in, but I can say the same thing for the Kremlin and the FBI, the CIA. It's not like they're the only people who do it. That's my perspective. It's been pretty out there in the open for all to see. There's a group of people with whom the Jews can do no right, ever. To me, that's an anti-Semite. Then you have a group of people with whom the Jews can do no wrong, ever. That, to me, would be a shill. Does that make sense? And I think most Americans line up somewhere between that spectrum, but our politicians don't. And so people feel that's where the tribalism to me is a problem.
Yeah, really quickly, just a clarification: the Alawite that is a Islamic sect.
Sorry, an Islamic
Sunni,
sect.
yeah.
A lot of them were minority Christians, and then the Alawite sect. Yes, I didn't.
Just making sure.
No, hit the admonish.
Not me. Do not include
minority Christians,
son of a
and Alawites. And Assad was a part of the Alawite sect. I want to make sure that's clear. He was not a Christian defending Christians, but Christians were being killed in lower numbers.
Yes.
Than they are right now.
But that doesn't make him a friend of Christians necessarily.
No. But it's not like this is foreign to us, right?
No, absolutely. And unfortunately, you kind of called this last week.
What?
Come, let Zoltar tell you more.
I'm gonna hit the next pitch ball right past the flag.
We're gonna win the game, I guarantee.
There's a very strong chance, and by that I mean I would bet my bottom dollar that Syria's probably going to get quite a bit worse.
Come, let Zoltar tell you more.
I'm gonna hit the next pitch ball right past the flag.
We're gonna win the game, I guarantee.
Hit it.
I meant last year.
Yeah.
Last week.
You said last week.
Last year.
And it's a double sin because you shortchanged your boss.
It's almost like 8 weeks, 9 weeks, whatever, fine.
No, it's not even close.
Last year.
Let's go on to Trudeau here while we're talking about this. Some interesting trade wars now going on with China and Canada. So you got U.S., you got Canada, then you got U.S. and China, then you got Canada and China. It's like this horrible love triangle, only there's no love. It's kind of like Love is Blind.
It's like a square.
Yeah, pretty much.
Triangle is the strongest shape.
That's right.
Triangle, very good.
Except it's not. Actually, it's cylinder. Take a paper, construction paper. Do square, fall over. Do cylinder, you can put on small Chinese man. No.
You saw that video on X too, didn't you?
No, I saw it back in the day on Zoom. Wow. Is it making the rounds on X?
Yeah.
And if you are, by the way, the best way to stay in touch, download the Rumble app. Follow me on Rumble. You only get notifications when we're live. Rumble, we own live. You don't have to worry about YouTube, algorithms, any of that. It's a fantastic app. It's seamless. You can listen to it on audio. You can cast it to your TV. All right. Canada. So Trudeau, basically, let's start with this. Trudeau is out. All right. So that's fun.
Out. Like gone.
He's out. He's gone. Which people were wondering when it was going to happen. I didn't think this early.
He announced his
Wait,
gone,
he's out?
and he's out.
Yes.
He came out. He's gay.
No, different out.
Well, yeah.
He's a homo.
I mean, that's one. He doesn't really need to come out. At that point, it's a
Canadian
formality.
Okay. All right.
But with Canada, we've talked about this quite a bit. There are huge implications for the United States, and not just between the U.S. and Canada, but when you understand what China is doing and how they're trying to sort of mobilize their economy, when you understand how they're trying to position themselves. And again, I think it's important to note, you can tell me if you disagree, if this comes down to a standoff between the United States and China, if there ends up being some kind of a war, God forbid, we're largely going to be fighting them alone. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of Canada. I was raised there for 15 years, so it's time for No Canada.
We
So
updated
majestic.
that. I like it.
They have the Queen and their money. So let's lay the groundwork here. Yesterday, Trudeau officially sort of signed off goodbye as a leader of Canada's Liberal Party. Sorry, right clip, but here is Trudeau. Again.
We're a country that will be diplomatic when we can, but fight when we must, elbows up. As your leader,
elbows.
As your Prime Minister, I have done my level best each and every single day to help build a country that stays worthy of all Canadians. And although you'll always find me alongside you, cheering along, their future and your future is now in your hands. Merci, mes amis. Merci.
Okay, is it just me? Or is it kind of like when Anderson Cooper gets a couple drinks in him on New Year's where the ultra gay comes out?
It does come out, yeah.
Does it seem like on the way out now he's like, screw it. Elbows up, boys!
Which sounds really gay. You explained
He
it.
sounds
fine.
like Dom DeLuise.
He does.
Like he was always effeminate. He seems really, just play a random spot there. He sounds really homosexual.
He seems happy,
to
too.
help build a country that stays worthy of all Canadians.
Right here, watch
and
it.
although you'll always find me
Little
alongside
head
you,
shake.
cheering along, their future and your future.
That's, although
is
you'll
now.
always find me baking cookies for the boys.
Naked.
Is it just me or does he seem really, really, and this is, I don't mean to weaponize it, you do you, Trudeau. Like that would be the least of my gripes with you. Primarily that you're Castro's son and that you're a communist sympathizer. I don't care really so much that you're gay.
He's going to do him and many other men.
Yeah, I believe that he will. Anyway, you can comment below. He seems gayer to me on the way
I'll be
out.
right beside you and behind you and inside you.
In your heart. In your heart.
Anytime at the bathhouse, anytime on the float, I'll be there.
Oh, stop it.
So, for Prime Minister Blackface, we've been waiting for this for a long time.
Yes.
It's time to close.
I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process.
Time to close. Endings and beginnings are ending and beginning now.
Let's talk, Canada.
It will no longer be possible to buy, sell, transfer, or import handguns anywhere in Canada.
No handguns, no speech. You can't have a peaceful protest as a trucker.
These blockades are illegal, and if you're still participating, the time to go home is now. And don't get me wrong, I am damn proud of what we've done over these past 10 years. I withdraw the comment about defecating.
Time to close. Endings and beginnings are ending and beginning now.
this guy has the most powerful office in the land of Canada, which I get is not saying much because it's a stupid, silly place.
Maternal love is the love that's going to change the future of mankind. So we'd like you to look at
we like to say people kind, not necessarily mankind.
I am, and always will be, a proud feminist.
Transphobia has no home in Canada.
For the oppression of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and two-spirit communities, we apologize.
Please don't.
Time to close. Endings and beginnings are ending and beginning now.
In the greatest display of national leadership factory that I have seen, Justin Trudeau
good usage.
Condemned the American people.
United States voted for a second time to not elect its first woman president.
And you know what? I'm so damn happy that I'll finally get Justin Trudeau out of my life.
I thought I was going to make it through this, but I'm not. It hurts.
I know that it's time for things to close. I know that it's time for things to close.
Time to go home.
Trudeau, go home.
It's like when the homeschool kid finally quits the baseball team.
Yeah. What do you think? You know what I realized? I can't.
Yeah, like, you're a good guy, but weird.
Yeah, you're weird. He really, when you see, the people refusing to shake his hand, I realize what it is that I really dislike about him. He's a bully. He always wants to be loved and accepted, right? He's reaching out for a handshake. He doesn't get it. But then when he's with his gang, with his posse, I hate posses. He's with them. He's the cool kid, and he starts talking about how crappy Donald Trump is and conservatives, and he becomes a bully. That's a coward. Whereas Donald Trump, if someone doesn't shake his hand, he doesn't care. He is who he is. Trudeau is a shapeshifter. Also, it's a really silly country because I was raised there. You know this? They have, and it's the Queen. This is their loonie, their single dollar coin. It's called the loonie for people who don't know. And then they're like, hey, we don't have enough heavy metal in our pockets, so let's create a $2 coin. Again, the Queen, and this is the toonie, because I thought it was clever.
Wait, Looney Toonie?
Yeah, their currency is a play on words.
But that's gay, folks.
Yeah, you have to walk around like you're, like a stripper making change.
I actually, I'll be honest. I think coin money is good. I think it's fun.
It feels good, except it weighs down your pockets.
No, it shows everybody you're a baller.
That's
you
right.
walk by, they hear you clanking.
Yeah, except not when you have the Queen on your money, Josh. It's the Queen.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, that looks like my grandma.
And they think it's
my nanny.
They still think it's a real country. Here's the thing. Now the Liberal Party, they're still in charge until they have a national election. They chose Mark Carney. Kind of like a prime minister, for those who don't understand the system. Kind of like a primary for a prime minister, because only the Liberal Party will vote on this until they have a national election. Now, this guy, Mark Carney.
He's a Carney.
Here's the thing. He's actually significantly worse. And I don't know that I've ever seen anyone on the U.S. stage or international stage with worse Trump derangement syndrome.
In first place, the next Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, with 131,674 votes, resulting in 29,457.
She has to fake like she's happy. Yeah. Like at the Oscars. This is great.
0.9% of the vote.
So does this kid. Oh!
That's like being made captain of the Titanic after the iceberg.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, why would you want that position?
Grab the guy playing the cello. You're captain. The hell's the difference?
You're the captain now. By the way, you go down with the ship.
Yeah. Do I get the pins? That's a pilot. Shoot. So, who is Mark Carney? A few things. He's not a politician. He's a banker. He has international interests, and he is very, very sympathetic to communist China. As a matter of fact, I would say this guy probably identifies as a communist, though he won't say it out loud. I'll make the case. References available. Some key facts here. Number one, he's a banker, right? He's not a politician. So he was the former head of the Bank of Canada from 2008 to 13. Bank of England, 13 to 2020. He oversaw Brexit. Keep that in mind. Yeah,
Canada, Bank of England.
Yeah, you know where he lined up. Now, currently, he's a UN Special Envoy on climate action and finance.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure you can guess what he does there. And no, he's not a member of Parliament. So his background is in international finance in the worst capacity possible. That's bad enough. Let's go to key fact here, number 2.
There's someone who's...
Admonish yourself. Tom.
There you go.
It's a Monday. There's plenty of admonishment to go.
No split screen. You take it all.
No, I take some of it.
Half of us have been admonished this morning.
No, come on.
I take some of it. I am the spotless admonished lamb.
You don't get residual admonishment.
I wear your admonishment so that you don't have to.
Okay, our savior.
Oh, wow.
Also, I started bleeding in the garden. Now. What do they call that? We're sweating blood.
You later.
I know.
There won't be anybody here because apparently the soundboard only works against me.
Yeah, well,
That's right.
That's how it should be. So, key fact number 2: he is not just an anti-Trumper. This man has Trump derangement syndrome, and you don't hear me use that a lot because I think it's kind of tired. But in this case, it applies worse than anyone I've seen. Most of his speech last night focused on Donald Trump and talking tough about him.
There's someone who's trying to weaken our economy. Donald Trump.
1.
Donald Trump.
2.
Donald Trump
3.
is trying to weaken our economy. So Donald Trump
4.
thinks he can weaken us with his plan to divide and conquer. A person who worships at the altar of Donald Trump
5.
will kneel before him, not stand up to him. We can't change Donald Trump.
6.
Can't change him. We can give ourselves far, far more than Donald Trump
7.
can ever take away. Il s'inquiète de l'avenir du Canada face aux menaces du président Trump et à un monde plus divisé et dangereux.
I'm going to give that an 8.5 because it's in French, so it pissed me off at least 50% more.
Donald Trump.
And this is a guy who loves the limelight. So I've said this is kind of a litmus test for people in our own government. Hey, do they love the limelight more than they love doing their actual job, right, with some of these appointments? I mean, if you're appearing on Fox News more than you are actually spending time in your office doing your job, okay, I think that's a problem. This guy loves the limelight, and the easiest way to gain the limelight in the United States when you're an irrelevant Canadian is to mention Donald Trump, which he did to get on The Daily Show.
Poilievre is going to be their champion, yes?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Who would give the best opportunity?
Well, I think in a situation like this, you need change. You need to address the economy. We've got an economic crisis because of what Mr. Trump is about to do or saying he's about to do. And there's this broader concern, again, exclamation point put on by the Trump tariffs, about what the future brings. The world's more divided. It's more dangerous. What are we going to do? They are not running, in part because there's a crisis right now because of the threat of the Trump tariffs.
11.
So they're saying I won't run because I want to focus on.
They're country before party and personal ambition, and it's absolutely
right.
Wrong. Now, he's also trying to tie his opponent, who I'm not the biggest fan of, but I get it's better than the alternative, right? The conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, to, you guessed it, was I at 11?
11.
Donald Trump.
We have to recognize that the Donald Trump of today
12.
is different than the Donald Trump of several years ago.
13.
Then his objective was to take more of our market. Now he wants to take our country. Let me finish by pointing out one other thing. Who's the worst person to stand up to Donald Trump? It's Pierre Poilievre. He worships the man. He uses his language. He's not the right person for our country at this crucial time.
Except that's not accurate. Poilievre said that he was going to, be tough on tariffs and take on Donald Trump. 15. So what they're doing is they're fear-mongering and they're playing on Canada's inferiority complex. And this brings us to key fact number 3. It's scary when you understand that he's a manipulator because he really is very much, I should say likely, allegedly, whatever qualifier I have to say here, a puppet for Beijing. A hand puppet. He's being fisted by Beijing.
Wow.
So
that's a tiny fist, but that still hurts.
You would think Canada, especially, we'll get to the Chinese tariffs on Canada right now, which would be the most relevant point. You would think during the speech. He mentioned President Trump during that speech 11 times, just in that one speech. China, 0.
Ooh.
Everything maybe a half point? No, 0. Not at all. Even though he did get a special congratulations from China's foreign minister. He has incredibly close ties to the CCP. So let me give you some examples here, references in the description as always. 2017, he met with Xi Jinping in private at Davos. Big fans of Davos here, as China was trying to fight President Trump in a trade war. Okay, 2018, he helped lead 1.4 billion pounds of investment from the UK to support China's Belt and Road Initiative. We've covered that. 2024, he was speaking at a China Development Forum, and he said, "It is a good thing that the RMB becomes a global reserve currency."
Oh, really?
Yeah. And by the way, if you want more in-depth analysis, we haven't done all this legwork. There's actually a guy named Andrew Haynes, Haynes, on X. Please go check it out. It's enlightening. It's also quite scary. This is where we are. It's like you have Trudeau, and the alternative can be worse, kind of like we talk about with Assad. I hope the national election goes one way, but it's important to understand that the United States and I think what's been exposed here with these the tariffs is that the United States is largely alone. So much is expected of us and very little is granted to us. And it's always the same excuse. You can afford it. You can afford it, right? NATO, no one's honoring their agreement. Well, the states can afford it. Well, Canada, hold on, look at these crazy tariffs. Well, you guys can afford it. USAID, well, you guys can afford it. That's always the argument, is the United States can afford it. I don't know does the debt have to get to 50 trillion for someone to say, hey, I think we might need to balance our checkbook here? That's the justification for what is the unjustifiable treatment of the United States internationally as it stands with trade. The good thing is we actually will be seeing more of Trudeau. That's always fun, since he did offer to document his retirement, which has started.
Prime Minister, would you mind taking some photos for us?
Sure, that's a great idea.
This has been the honor of my life serving Canadians.
For those on audio, you have to go watch it.
Only 2 of those are photoshopped.
I'm just glad I finally got to catch up with Dad.
Yes, he did. Yeah. I'm going to play catch with my dad.
That's special.
Yeah.
It's like Field of Dreams. It's like Field of Wet Dreams.
Yes. So, by the way, speaking of China, Saturday, they levied huge tariffs on some of Canada's largest exports. So they claim retaliatory because Canada is going to be tariffing, is that a word, tariffing? Putting tariffs on China's EVs, steel, and aluminum. But here's what's really going on. China sees this as a way to influence Canada to not side with the United States. Now, how do we know that? Because that's what they said on Chinese state TV, or as Carney knows it, the channel I watch.
Channel 2.
The only channel.
It's like his equivalent, like the 75-year-olds with Fox News, where you go to change, like, leave it on Fox all day. That's what he does with communist state TV.
His remote in the trash, doesn't need it.
This is what they said. They said the Chinese tariffs are a powerful countermeasure to Canada's wrong choice, and a strong warning to some countries that intend to impose additional tariffs on China for exchange for United States not to impose tariffs on them. Essentially, they want to be able to export their goods to the United States through Canada to avoid tariffs, which is why it's a pretty clever safeguard for Donald Trump to deal with them both at the same time. This is where people say, isn't this too much? It could disrupt our economy. It all had to take place at the same time for the same reason that fixing the border at the south had to take place at the same time as the north, because if you seal up the southern border, it's going to come in through the north. If you deal with China, they're going to find a workaround to go through Canada. China wants Canada to be their butt buddy. They want to make sure that they sow division between the United States and Canada, which may be why they're so upset at simply retaliatory tariffs to ensure fairness in our trade.
Right. And I don't know if Donald Trump's strategy has been this the entire time, but if you look at 2 situations with Panama and now with Canada, he's kind of smoked out the Chinese. Right? Everybody in Panama, you remember when the media was making fun of him? Like, I don't see anybody that's Chinese down at the Panama Canal. And then immediately the guy comes out after a meeting with Rubio and says, we're going to not renew the Belt and Road Initiative. And it's like, oh, Belt and Road, that's China. Okay, so I guess maybe they were more in charge. Now with Canada, it's like, why are we focusing so much on Canada? Here we go. Okay, has this been kind of a shadow kind of fight with China to go, I'm gonna stop you here and I'm gonna stop you there?
Right.
If that's his strategy, it seems to be doing pretty well.
Well, here's the thing, too. It's, if a country is less significant, if a country has less power, less influence, their loyalties are easier to buy.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's kind of what we're seeing. The United States has effectively bought Canada's loyalty. Well, they go out and they LARP as our best neighbor, as our best friend. Really, it was transactional. You've heard me say this for weeks. As long as we allowed them to ream us on trade, they're our best friend.
Yeah.
That's the concern. Canada can go to the highest bidder, especially if this guy Carney comes into power. And I guarantee you, Canada's not going to be lifting a finger if we end up getting into a conflict with China if this guy's at the helm.
Yeah.
That's what's pretty concerning. So Canada has gotten themselves right now, it's kind of a no-win situation. Here's the reason why. They have not been behaving like a real country because they're largely not. So now it's going to have to choose between the United States, its best friend, or China, who Carney seems to love. It seems like Carney has made up his mind. And this is what we're seeing with this international trade war, what we're seeing with these tariffs. I hope that people are starting to get the picture. I think that a lot of people have thought we're beyond war, we're beyond conflict, that we are the world, we all sort of share the same values. If nothing else, now we see these lines are drawn and people can choose where they line up. People have been talking about the great superpowers of the next century, this century, for a long time. Is it going to be the United States or China? Well, where is our supposed best friend going to line up? Just engage in trade fairly with the United States? Or are they going to run into the arms of China? Because they will have a choice to make because they're not a real country that's viable on its own. Does that make sense? Everyone understand that? This has been No Canada. It is a great national anthem.
Very nice.
I do love the national anthem, especially that one. By the way, clear.com, spelled xlear.com, promo code LWC20. You get 20% off Clear and Spry products, and you get free shipping on all orders over $30. We use it here. We've avoided a lot of viruses going around, and you can look at their peer-reviewed studies, their trials, all the data there as it relates to flu, rhinovirus, even COVID. They're allowed to actually even publish these. They can make the claim.
Now?
Yeah, they weren't allowed to during COVID. Yeah.
So, by the way, too, just like on a personal note, allergies suck, and I thought that's what I had last week, honestly. But if you suffer from allergies out there, just try it. Anecdotally, it's helped me considerably deal with allergies a lot better. It's allergy season's coming, so that's plug for all you guys. I understand.
You may wonder why this is the only place you hear about it, and as opposed to like the conservative sort of show podcast sphere. It's because I use it for a long time and talked about it, and they reached out. So we're fortunate to be able to partner with companies that we actually use their stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Not just the highest bidder. Speaking of which, on to John Oliver.
Well, hold on. I'm getting something from Mission Control. Actually, we intercepted another message from George W. Bush to President Trump.
Oh, good advice.
Yeah.
Here's some advice. As president, it's hard to find privacy. Like when you're trying to pinch off a loaf and the Secret Service is right outside the door. They hear the splashing, they think you're playing with ducks. There's an old saying in Texas. If it's yellow, let it mellow. And if it's brown, deport them down. Oh, excuse me. I think I feel an anchor baby coming on.
Oh, God forbid we find out what a dreamer is.
Oh, no.
Some say I'm a dreamer.
Yes, right. But I'm not the only one. There are others.
There's other dreamers. There's more people out there.
Yeah. I hope
they're dreaming this when they're sleeping.
I hope someday you'll join up.
There's also sleepwalkers. It's weird, it's creepy.
There's also daywalkers, but I think Abraham Lincoln killed them. I think he hunted them with a hatchet. It's like a small axe.
But a holy water goes a long way.
That's right. John Oliver. All right. Hey, you know what? Good news. Your Pressure, actually, John Oliver, the talent agency, they stopped taking down our content on YouTube because of the pressure that you put on them. So I think the last couple are actually available.
Hey, there you go.
Yes. Of course, they're not monetized. But then again, nothing is on YouTube. That's why we're, of course, Rumble Premium. So you all know where I line up on John Oliver.
Big fan.
Yeah. Well, I do. You know what? I'm not anti-pussy. So, and he is, he's their flag bearer, which brings us to the latest installment of John Oliver is a big fat pussy.
I am a pussy, and that is frankly a wild thing to say. I'm telling you, I am a pussy. Oh, sorry if this is how you found out, but I'm telling you that I am a pussy.
Comment below if you think that's the greatest stinger in existence ever. I don't want to pat ourselves in the back here, but every now and then, I feel quite proud.
we only did like 25% of it.
Yeah,
he did the rest all by himself.
Yeah. So this installment, it's not his first installment on immigration, but again, I ask you to watch this through the lens of, okay, what is the solution proposed? Go and watch his entire segment on this. He spends all week, he does a show once a week. He spends all week doing research, doesn't provide you the references, to create a segment like this. I've never seen any solution outside of, as I've always said, status quo and more money. And in this case, it's status quo as we're dealing with immigration and providing more aid to these people under the guise of empathy. We'll fact check it, but here he is leading us off talking about Donald Trump enforcing immigration laws, specifically ICE and something. Oh, the humanity!
We've talked on this show a lot about our immigration system's problems before, from the fact our immigration courts are arbitrary and incredibly slow, to the many holes in our asylum process, to the truth that for many there is no way to come in the right way, to the failures of Joe Biden's immigration policies and the cruelty of Trump.
Yeah, all of those things are wrong. There is a right way to come in. Plenty of people do it. Millions of people have done it. They do it every year. And when you refer to cruelty, really what you're talking about is enforcing laws that haven't been enforced, but now are actually being enforced for the first time in quite a while. Let's just go to Claim Truth. All right. Here's the first claim that he makes, that migrants, and by definition this is incorrect, that illegal immigrants aren't doing anything illegal. They're not criminals.
Well, entering the US without authorization can be a criminal offense. Many of those who are undocumented entered legally and overstayed their visas, and simply being undocumented is a civil violation, not a criminal one. That is an important distinction that her boss should frankly understand, given that he has committed both.
There we go. The old, he's a felon. All right, here's the truth. First off, it's not an important distinction.
Yeah.
Okay. Civil offense, right? Criminal. Okay, these people have entered in illegally. They have committed an illegal act. And really what you're talking about is if people overstay visas, okay, that can actually be seen as a civil offense under the law, whereas entering illegally, simply crossing the border, is seen as a criminal one. And at least 11 million of the approximately 17 to 20 million illegals under the Biden administration actually committed a criminal act.
The vast majority.
The vast majority have just been crossing through.
So we're not talking about people just accidentally overstaying a visa or even doing it on purpose and,
Right.
oh, whoops.
So he sets that up so that you believe these people are law-abiding. Yeah, did you have
maybe it's better served later, but I was going to ask, how easy is it to reapply for a visa once you've already had one?
It depends on what kind of a visa you have. If you're productive.
There's a couple people here I could ask later, yeah.
Yeah, if you're productive and you're paying taxes, it generally is relatively easy to do. But if you come here on a temporary visa or like a junior visa to turn it into a work visa, it can be pretty complicated, especially with Canada. Canada complicated things with the vaccine, right? They made it difficult from their end. That being said, the problem that we're dealing with and the problem that most Americans have, look, people say the perfect is the enemy of the good, okay? In this case, let's apply, all right, so the alternative to at least dealing with the criminal action of people crossing the border here illegally, which, by the way, often these people are drug mules, often they're being sex trafficked. It comes with a litany of other criminal behavior that we want to, at the very least, reduce, I would hope, common ground. The alternative from people like John Oliver is do nothing.
Right.
And ultimately give them more of your tax dollars. Is that the solution that you want? Because it's what we've been doing it for quite a while at this point. And it's the reason that Donald Trump was elected, at least one of the top 3 reasons. People need something done about illegal immigration. Let's go to the next claim. And again, this is all to tell you a sob story and make you feel as though you're not being compassionate if you simply don't open the borders to everyone. He makes the claim that half of all of these illegal immigrants are claiming asylum and they should just stay.
More than 50% of those in ICE detention have no criminal records, and many more have only minor offences, including traffic violations. What's more, a lot of them are already in the asylum process. As of last year, almost half of those in ICE custody were seeking asylum, and that is actually true of some of those who got scooped up in Colorado last month.
It's actually not true. Here's the truth. 75% of these migrants are economic migrants. They're here for self-described economic reasons. This is something that the left does. They obfuscate it deliberately to confuse you. Asylum doesn't just mean anyone who's migrating. Asylum requires conditions to be met. Let me read this for you. Asylum is, this is from the UNHCR. Asylum is a form of protection which allows an individual to remain in the United States instead of being removed or deported to a country where he or she fears persecution or harm. Under U.S. law, people who flee their countries because of persecution can apply for asylum. Persecution is outlined as people being persecuted for their race, their religion, their nationality, membership in a particular social group or political group. You know, like people who were anti-communists in the Castro regime. That would make sense. They're also supposed to go to the nearest nation. Asylum is a definition of people who are fleeing a persecutive government and they go to the nearest nation. It's not someone coming here because they see more economic opportunity and they want to send the money back to their family in Mexico. That's not. Do you guys understand the difference?
So the people that are waving their flags of their past countries in the streets of LA.
Yes, that's a
those people aren't seeking asylum because,
Yes, that's a very
love
good
their
point.
Okay.
There's a reason that Cuban Americans are the most solid conservative voting bloc in this country. And if you look at a lot of Mexican Americans, they're waving the flag of the country they left. Well, hold on a second. Why would you wave the flag of a country that was persecuting you? They weren't persecuting them. Mexico just sucks economically. And then we'll be accused of racism for saying that. Well, which is it? Are they asylum seekers, or is Mexico great? Are all cultures equal?
Yeah. I want to ask a quick question. John Oliver said over half of the people that ICE has detained are asylum seekers. Why were they detained, John? Are you saying maybe they didn't show up for the court date? Like the vast majority of people don't do, and the process, I think, on average right now is about 6 to 9 years long.
Yeah.
And when I say the vast majority, I'm talking like I remember numbers north of 65, 70% of people don't show up.
Yeah, he lied about that.
A crime?
What was that?
Failure to appear, is that a crime?
Well, for your hearing.
Good point. Yes, it is.
Yeah, maybe.
So he also said 50% of them are asylum seekers, and then he said 50% of them actually have committed crimes.
Right.
Whoops.
Well, what if the asylum seekers committed the crimes? I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't care. You committed a crime. Your asylum just got canceled, buddy.
Yeah, and by the way, of the actual asylum seekers, it's 25%. This is not the nation they should go to. Most of the asylum seekers in the United States are coming from Congo, Iraq, Myanmar, Somalia.
Done.
Some of them from Latin American countries, the Caribbean, but really about 60,000 asylum seekers is what you're talking about under Biden. They should go to safe neighboring countries before they come to the United States. The only example that you can think of as far as legitimate claim to asylum in the United States would be those leaving Cuba.
Yeah.
In part because if you protested the government, right, you were arrested, you were a political prisoner, and then at one point Castro simply released all of his prisoners, many of whom were political, said, get the hell out. And so where do they go? They go to the nearest country, the United States. Some people could argue Haiti at one point in time. The issue there is that it wasn't necessarily a government persecuting political persuasion. It's just Haiti. It just sucks.
Well, there was those crime gangs that took over for a little while.
Yeah.
So I guess that would.
Well, I don't think.
But they were killing people with
affiliation
disregard. It was just.
You would
anyone.
think that the Clintons were cleaning it up, though.
Is that a social group?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Really quick before you get to the next claim, Trump is phenomenal. By the way, they have replaced the CBP One app. You remember that app that everybody got mad about?
Yeah, yeah.
People could schedule their flights into the United States for people to be able to self-deport.
Nice.
They turned it into an opposite direction thing.
Oh, excellent.
Can
you pay extra for first class?
Right. Yeah.
Submit intent to depart.
And by the way, there's no me gusta option because me gusta.
And now you can't uninstall that app.
Yes, exactly.
Forever.
We're tracking you. I love it.
Here's the next.
Allow notifications, not an option.
Yes, exactly. And you can't put it on vibrate.
Never.
It's going to be the annoying chime.
Location services are always enabled.
Yes, always enabled. Here's the next claim that he makes, and I highly recommend you go and watch his entire segment because I haven't seen one that is less convincing. He talks about ICE detention being punishment. Okay, I don't have a problem with that, but the reason that he thinks it's cruel punishment is because illegals don't know when they're free to leave.
If you are sent into detention, you don't know how long you'll be there. There is no set timetable for your release. And even some of those in charge of these centers can almost acknowledge the problems with that.
It's not like a jail inmate that's in here sentenced to a certain time. They know the day they get out. They have no idea when they're going to leave. And I know, if I was in their place, it would be very difficult to not know when I'm leaving. People see it sometimes as a punishment. We don't punish. So it's, I know it's viewed that way, but we aren't going to hold somebody to punish them.
Okay, but the thing is, being locked up and not knowing when you get to leave is basically the definition of a punishment.
And it would be if you weren't full of shit. Here's the truth. They're free to leave whenever.
Yeah.
What they're talking about is these people don't know when they will be given a free flight back to their country. So again, people like John Oliver believe that it's morally reprehensible to send people back who've crossed here illegally. Yes, they have committed a crime in crossing this border illegally. And now he believes it's cruel to not give them a definitive date as to when the all expenses paid trip back will be. these people in ICE detention can request a voluntary departure back to their home whenever they want. It requires AG approval. I think Bondi probably be okay with it.
After her Fox interview, but
yeah. But here's the real catch. They have to pay for a plane ticket.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or a bus.
Yes. Yep.
A bus,
a train, have someone pick them up at the border. So at this point, the cruelty is we are so overloaded with millions upon millions of illegals who we have caught. We're not allowed to send them back on our own timeline. And by the way, throughout this entire time, they can leave at any point. No one is stopping them from leaving. The cruelty is we're not paying for the flight back immediately for over 17 million illegal aliens that we are dealing with right now. The American worker subsidizes the rest of the world. Do you think you should be paying for a plane ticket? This is how entitled people are. What is it? The United States can afford it. Well, sure, these people have come into your country illegally. Right. Sure, you have no way to track crime, and sure, they've destroyed neighborhoods, but you can afford sending them back. Well, so can they. If they've been working in the States, they can't afford a Spirit flight. They have to learn to dodge, bob, and weave a little bit. Someone's going to get a hairpiece pulled off, but
they can put it on credit.
Yeah, exactly.
You won't have to pay it.
Yeah, put it on credit, like you guys do with emergency rooms.
Affirm, there's programs that let you do it.
Yeah. And here's the other thing too, by the way. Here's another truth. It's cheaper for taxpayers, not saying we necessarily should, but to foot the bill for these departures, if we were to send everyone back, it still would be cheaper than the cost of illegal immigration every single year. Illegal immigrants cost the United States taxpayer, you, the American worker, $150 to $450 billion annually, every single year. Flying them out today would cost anywhere between $1.5 to $3 billion.
Listen, that is...
And we just cut that with USAID.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, we could even give them first-class tickets.
Musk will probably fund it.
Yeah. Can we let's pass the hat around Congress, right? Just confiscate some of their insider trade.
Yeah, what's 1.8 billion among friends?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we could do it. Here's the thing, though. John Oliver thinks that's cruel, and he wants to help these. But can you imagine being stuck in a John Oliver detention facility? Well, we did.
Last month, Trump actually flew 178 Venezuelan migrants there, only to quickly reverse course and fly them out after the administration started facing lawsuits. And look, most experts agree that for both legal and logistical reasons, Gitmo is unlikely to house 30,000 migrants anytime soon.
Ugh. I'd Epstein myself.
And they weren't free to leave.
No, they were not.
They had nowhere to go.
That's how he gets his ratings. They're not viewers, they're hostages.
Wait, you'd have your cellmate hang you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would.
Sure, I understand.
I'd
have my cellmate do a lot more than that.
Wow.
I would.
Fun on the way out, Josh, right?
I would grease the palms of a few ICE officers and make sure that it was, swift and painless, but looked like an accident.
Absolutely.
So, collect the
so according to John Oliver, we can't detain illegal immigrants.
No.
Okay. We can't stop the illegal immigrants from coming here because that would also be cruel. So we can't deport them either because that would also be cruel to make them pay for their own flights back or cost us too much money. So what exactly is his solution to this problem?
This is the question I have.
Letting them run roughshod over the country?
Can anyone give me the solution of the left? And John Oliver's is really the only one I've heard is let them stay.
Well, because they'll admit now they'll admit that it's a problem.
Right.
That there is an immigration problem, that there was a hole at the border. They'll admit that.
Yeah.
Okay, but they won't. The only solution that I've heard is to process everyone and make a pathway to citizenship as soon as possible. That's the only solution.
Also, I really don't like the people who are waiting for their return date. You know why? Because if you're being detained and you know that you came here illegal, you crossed the border with a coyote, you know that you are wasting the American worker's dollar by waiting for a trial date to fight it. You know that you're here illegally. You know what the outcome is. You know what you did is wrong, and you should go back. So by staying here, you are effectively lying. And you are effectively wasting resources. The left's argument, and John Oliver's argument here, it presupposes that these people have a right to be here. And the only basis for it, it's the same root justification that you see. Tariffs from Canada and other countries, or other countries not paying into NATO while the United States should, or the amount of money that we have spent to help Ukraine while Europe hasn't stepped up. It's, you can afford it. Oh, the United States can afford it. Well, sure, yeah, Canada's putting a 200-something% tariff on dairy. I know it's a cap and it's a top effective rate, but that means that it is, but you can afford it. Well, sure, yeah, other nations are spending 0.6% of their GDP on their military as per the NATO agreement, and we're spending close to 4%. But the United States can afford it. Well, sure, yeah, these illegals are coming. They're costing the American taxpayer $400 billion. Yeah, but you can afford it. Hey, have some empathy. You can afford it. There is nothing charitable about committing misdeeds and subsidizing it through the American workers' dollar. Let's be really clear about this. They say the United States can afford it. When they are saying the United States can afford it, whether it is USAID, whether it is the IRS, CIA, FBI, whether it's our spending into NATO, UN, whether it's what we send to other nations, whether it's how we are subsidizing these illegal immigrants in this country, what they are really saying when they say the U.S. can afford it is the American worker can afford it. And that includes those who are employees and small business owners. You can afford it. Let me ask you this. You have a tax bill coming up. We're almost in April. Can you afford it? You feel like you can afford it? That's a genuine question. Let's stop separating you, the taxes you pay, and the government and some international treaty. No, you. Take that money that is coming out of your check or that you write each quarter, depending how you do it. And you know what? Divvy it up. Go, okay, NATO, all right, USAID, okay, illegal immigration. Maybe we could add up some percentages. And I want you to do that with every single one of your tax returns. And you tell me if you can afford it. Also, let's keep in context, what's our debt now? What's our total debt?
Trillion.
30-something trillion?
Yep.
Yeah, we haven't hit 40 trillion yet. At what point can the United States no longer afford it?
How do they expect us to act when we can no longer afford it?
Yeah. And by the way, how do you think the rest of these countries do when the United States collapses? If people try and come to collect the bill, it's World War III.
Yeah.
Where are they going to go? Where are these countries going to find themselves? Where are the people of these countries going to find themselves? The world is better off when the United States is stronger. They've known that for a very long time. Now it's about the United States being the charity of the world. And I just want to don't feel guilty. Don't be browbeaten. Don't be gaslit into feeling like you are not empathetic. Hey, do you want to help your family? Do you want to feed your kids? You want to put a roof? Do you want them to have a better life? Go to a better school? Go to a trade school? You want to get them better health care? Hey, is that greedy? You want to help your community? You want to help your neighbors? Does it mean that you're somehow more selfish if you want to help people who you know and are directly in your community of friends, of colleagues, than someone who is coming into this country who has no business being here and, by the way, has no interest in the well-being of you, your family, or your community? And I'm not saying they're actively trying to harm you. I get it. Not all of them are criminals, though illegal aliens commit crimes at a disproportionate rate, notwithstanding the illegal act of coming here. But let's assume they're not a criminal. Let's assume that they're coming here for a better economic opportunity. Well, for who? Most of them send their money back. They're doing exactly what you're doing. For some reason, you are greedy and selfish in wanting to support your own family. You, the American worker, you're selfish, you're greedy, you're evil in wanting to create a better life for your family, but someone coming from Guatemala or Mexico isn't. And they're doing the exact same thing. John Oliver, I'd love for you to answer that, but this has been an installment of John Oliver is a big fat.
I am a pussy, and that is frankly a wild thing to say. I'm telling you, I am a pussy. Oh, sorry if this is how you found out, but I'm telling you that I am a pussy.
Love that stinger.
Best stinger. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Is there anything I missed?
Nope.
All right.
Got it all.
By the way, if you guys are not members, Rumble Premium, $99 annually, $9.99 a month. Mug Club is now Rumble Premium. Rumble Premium is Mug Club. You get 100% more show every day. We're going to continue, of course, today on Rumble Premium. You get us, Russell Brand, Nick DiPaolo, Dr. Disrespect. You get Mr. Guns and Gear, Donald Trump Jr. You get everything ad-free. And guess what? We are demonetized on YouTube. None of this happens without you, without your support. And, of course, we're going to be taking your chats in a little bit. The next story, and you help support this with your membership, South by Southwest. So we have contingency plans here.
We do.
Right? We have what we call the old workaround because
Gerald was showing me the old reach around. Is that different?
No, he was method acting the Trudeau when we were preparing for the segment, and then we cut it from the show.
We said, Gerald, you
don't need to do that. You don't really need to live the character.
Guys, I'm gay.
So South by Southwest was in Austin this weekend. And you know this, I couldn't go. I have been banned for life.
Why?
Because of... Your guess is as good as mine.
Do we also agree that, like insurance companies, should have the right to discriminate in that sense.
You're also discriminating based on, a number of things, including racial and ethnic backgrounds.
Some of the violence, I think most people agree, should not be considered to be protected speech.
But that's not speech, that's an actual offense.
Right now, your speech is not protected.
You didn't answer my question. It's a respectful question. What is hate speech?
Like publicly posting our specific location with calls to visit us, slash our tires, and teach us lessons, ensuring that we'll never make ourselves vulnerable again.
It's cute, right? I know. It's okay. Like, that's what they. It's okay.
All right, so that's your cottage industry of our hate.
Cottage industry, like, oh, Joe, right?
It was the most uncomfortable day of my life.
Yes, indeed.
But back then it was necessary. So we're actually going to get some exclusive clips here. We interviewed, my team here, some lefty politicians like the mayor of Arlington, Jim Ross, not a professional wrestler, Jim Ross, the mayor of Arlington, as left as could possibly be. We also have some other panels that were crashed by our undercover crew here, and even some questions that were asked of other quote unquote sort of like conservative panels that were given. It's not what it used to be, South by Southwest, but it is quite a bit of fun. So just to set the stage here before we get to these exclusive clips, my team got to soak in every second of the bastion of hobo, piss, and liberalism that is South by Southwest.
We are out here in Austin, Texas at South by Southwest. We're going to be asking people out here about Doge and Elon Musk. Do they hate him because he's African? Maybe.
These guys are scary. The threat to democracy is real.
So what culpability or responsibility or plan does the mainstream media have to regain the trust?
Social media people were almost looked at as the fact checkers. So do you think like you're almost like you kind of fell behind a little bit on that?
Hi, Mr. Mayor. How can we make homelessness sexy so like people aren't as grossed out by like the homeless? Just throw more money at it.
He doesn't get to decide what's on his Wikipedia page, does he? In fact, he's unhappy.